Well, the genesis of Sunday Morning Keiko really came about from my experience of traveling around, and wherever I would go, I would meet pretty amazing people that all had obviously a very sincere approach to their practice. But what I was struck by was oftentimes they were not conversing with the folks on the other side of town because of maybe some organizational difference or politics or whatever. And I just felt that didn't really honor the quality of people that I was encountering. So I thought best to try to create maybe like a community that doesn't offer a rank, but just is a place where, regardless of your affiliation, you can meet and put friendship first. And so that was the genesis of the idea of Sunday Morning Keiko. And then with that said, it doesn't really rest on the shoulders of any one particular person. It's really about the collective. So everybody contributes to that narrative, sort of along the lines of how, I guess you would say, like a village raises the next generation. So it has a little bit of that approach. And then to create an environment where you have a lot of productivity in the quality of those conversations. So that was the essence of Sunday Morning Keiko from the beginning. Of course, today we have just amazing people that have joined. I mean, I'm so deeply honored with just a wealth of experience from all different organizations, styles, Wado-ryu, Shotokan, Shorin-ryu, we have Aikidoka. And I think it's just the testimony that a world can exist without this sort of divisiveness, that we can, regardless of our background or our ideology, we can still find common ground that sort of is a transcendent aspect of our humanity. Well, everybody's going to have their own approach to their practice, as it should be. I mean, some people are going to practice and approach their karate from a sporting perspective. Others are going to see it from a purely utilitarian. And I mean, that is how it should be. And in fact, I would say that everybody should have their own unique approach to their practice, because like any relationship, what it's going to really be is that experience and you sort of finding some sort of balance. For me personally, even when I was a young man practicing my karate at the age of 10 or 11, it wasn't just about the physical part of the training, although I trained very hard and I went through all that kind of training that we did in the early 70s, but there was always like a deeper purpose to my practice. So martial arts for me has never really been about something you do. It's more about something that you become. And that quality of approach then is applied to everything. Just like most people would recognize that, the tea ceremony is not really just about quenching your thirst, but there's other elements in the process of the tea ceremony that you encounter, elements of mindfulness or deliberation or peace or harmony, or I would even go so far as a quality of grace. All the things that are somewhat transcendent in our human nature, you're encountering it through that process. I would say martial arts and karate are no different. So for me, when people say Budo, karate, it's not destroy the opponent karate necessarily. I mean, I think we train to be very skillful, but there has a deeper purpose to the practice, and one that should evolve through the duration of your life and not simply be at its apex during your athleticism. I think the study of karate is it's a process. It's just like, I think, the individual is a process. I mean, you're really not a noun, you're a verb. You're an occurrence. And then if you can kind of sort of wake up to that idea, well then what environment do you create? What sort of approach and perspective do you create in order to elevate that, to get the most out of that? And I think that to me is that's the Tao of it. That's the path, and that's the seeker's sort of endeavor. And I really think it does come down to a certain quality of approach. Most people sit back passively and expect the institution to deliver, but I don't necessarily think you find your salvation through the institution. I think the institution can be a great resource, sort of pointing the way, but ultimately it's going to be your direct connection. And if you surrender your power to the institution, And I think that's oftentimes the institution encourages that, maybe based on its own frailty and insecurity. I think it's like raising a child. At some point, you want what's just best for the child, and you want to create an environment that encourages that sort of personal growth. I would say the institution should have no different approach than that. So, I tell people when I go and I teach, I say, own your awesomeness. And I know that might sound kind of trite or a cliche, but really, the very first thing you should do, wake up to the blessing of your life. I mean, it's like a total shift in your priority. So for me, it's friendship first. It's honoring the blessing of my life and letting that resonate in my level of reverence and respect for those that are around me. And that's the genesis of Sunday Morning Keiko, to create that kind of environment, that kind of community, where everybody contributes to that narrative, and we honor that. And there are going to be people that are going to have far more experience and other skill sets than I. And I want to be open to that. I think we should all be open to that. So, yeah, village raises the next generation. That's the ethos of Sunday Morning Keiko.